Hi, my name is Keith Smith. I'm a freelance PHP programmer, and I've been a freelance PHP programmer since 2006, and I want to teach you everything I know. Today, I'd like to address a comment that was put on one of the videos talking about logic, and I want to talk about how to improve your programming logic. This individual posted and said he has trouble with programming logic. Let me tell you what. Uh, yeah, when I started programming in like 1983 at the University of Arizona, we didn't have all the fancy stuff we have today. I was required to take Fortran as a business major. I was required to take Fortran, which was intro to computers. And then because I was an accounting major, I was required to take COBOL. And during my COBOL class, I struggled, but that's when I found out I liked to program or I liked the challenge. And I was challenged and I was lost. And a lot of things weren't taught to us at that point. It wasn't until later on that I discovered or was taught that you need to do some you need to look at what you want to achieve, and you want to look at, and what you want to do is you want to write some pseudocode. In other words, you just write down on paper, I'm going to gather some information, I'm going to have a loop and process the data, and then I'm going to branch out in that loop to do other things. And then once I get done processing the data, then I'm going to do something else. And write that down on a piece of paper, type it into Word or LibreOffice or something like that, and you will have a much better go at things uh, by doing that. I didn't do that. I had a program that was, as I remember it, was about 650 lines of code. If I remember the project correctly, it probably really only should have been 100, 150 lines of code. I'm embarrassed to say, but I think I spent 80 hours on that program and really got close, but I didn't get it done. And today, I think I could do that program in maybe 5 hours, 3 hours. Sometimes we overestimate or underestimate, so maybe 3 to 5 hours. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. And when I think about the logic that it needed, it was a very simple program. But I was a beginner, I didn't know any better. This video is about how to improve your programming logic. So, like I said before, analyze what you want to do, then write some pseudocode, and that'll help you a lot. You really need to think through these things before you get started. Don't jump into programming right away. Every time I do that, I work 2, 3, 4, 5 times as hard as if I would have just taken, 20, 30 minutes to kind of analyze things and figure out what I wanted to do, and maybe even write down a couple of, a little bit of pseudocode that I needed to have different control structures and stuff like that. So, when you start out, oh, dude, let me tell you what, everything is hard. And if you hang on to the end of this video, I'll share with you two challenges I had early on. And so don't give up. Don't give up. So the next thing I would say is continue to practice writing code. That's how you're going to develop your muscle and your brain. Your brain is a muscle. And let me tell you what, when I first started, everything was foreign and I was lost. But the more I programmed, the better I got. So, just keep programming, keep going, keep learning. And now I'm at a point where programming, while it's the mainstay of what I do, is really a small portion of what I know. I know so many other things that relate to what I do, and we'll get into those at some point. And one of the other things you might want to do is look at code that written by others, so you get an idea what other people are doing and how they are solving problems. And let me tell you what, I learned a lot from looking at other people's code and how they did things. And most of all, don't lose your motivation. Don't give up. If you give up, programming beats you. programming will win. And there's no reason for that. And that brings us into my two examples and why you don't want to give up. So in the COBOL class, we had to do a very basic banking program. And like I shared, I probably spent 80 hours on what should have probably taken me 5 hours to do. I ended up with 650 lines of code when it should have really only been 100, maybe 150 lines of code. And I'm embarrassed today, but now I know how to program. Then I didn't have a clue. I just went out and wrote some notes on what we were supposed to do. I went to the computer center and I started coding. I gave it no thought, and that was wrong. I should have sat down for an hour, analyzed what the requirements were of the program, and I should have taken the time to do some pseudocode. And when I say pseudocode, you're just writing out notes in English. It doesn't have to be proper code, whatever language you're using. It's pseudocode. And so it's just giving yourself directions and helping you think through your solution. And let me tell you what, if you do that, you'll save tons and tons and tons of time. And that's taught in academia, but unfortunately, I didn't get taught it until a year or two later. And then I started understanding that you needed to do this. And even when I went out, to do commercial programming, there were times that I didn't do any study or thought or anything. I just started programming, and I would program myself into a corner, and then I'd have to fix the mistakes I made, or my program didn't end up as good as it could have. So always spend some time analyzing and doing pseudocode. That would help me a lot in my COBOL banking program. The other thing I want to share with you is in 1986, my boss, it wasn't really my boss, it was a boss's boss. He was all the way up like the second in chain of command. So he was about the third person away from me up the chain of command. He gave me a computer. Now we're talking 1986, and he says, do something with it. We don't know what to do with it. You're the only guy that has any idea what to do. I was studying programming at junior college at that time. So I had some insight, but I wasn't ready for that kind of project yet. I learned a lot. I was exposed to a lot. I don't think I did anything productive with that computer, but it sure helped me learn and grow. Unfortunately, they didn't get anything out of it. I sure did. So, this is what I wanted to share. So this was a disk operating system, a Microsoft DOS computer, 1986. Nobody had computers. And so I pulled out the DOS manual and I looked at it, and I could have been looking at a foreign language. It took me months to figure out how to use DOS. I know I sound like some simpleton or some stupid guy, but that's my point. I'm trying to tell you, this stuff does not come natural. For some people it does. For me, it didn't. I had to work really, 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 really hard for many years to really start getting my brain to function as a programmer. And so here we are now, and I can program. I can do a lot of things with technology, but I had to continue learning and looking at other people's code. I had to learn to slow down and do some pseudocode, analyze my project, and it'll come. If you're a beginner and you're struggling, don't lose your motivation. Do not lose your motivation. Keep going. Do not stop. Okay, so if you found this video useful, please give it a like. Subscribe if you want to learn how to program. Subscribe and hit the notification bell. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.